Welcome to the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. We discuss 5 questions in about 10 or 15 minutes, and I am very grateful to welcome our guest today. This is Joe Morin. He is the founder and CEO of CyFlare out of Morgan Hill, California. Joe, thank you so much for taking time to join me on the podcast today. What would you like the audience to know about CyFlare?
Absolutely. So thanks for having me, Sean. I really appreciate that. I think the key thing with CyFlare, although we're a 24/7 cybersecurity company, we're a verb, and it means to integrate and automate your cybersecurity. So what we do is above and beyond traditional security operations center. We watch stuff. We work with clients, let them know things are happening. But it's really about automated response, integrating with tools they have, and working towards the real goal, which is to fix stuff as it happens, to really contain a threat. And the other key thing is that we allow clients complete optionality when it comes to the tools that they have. A lot of clients already have investments. A lot of clients change their investments. They change their people and the tools, the vendors, all of that comes with it. CyFlare allows you to have a single SOC, but connect to any of these things, and you have total fluidity as things change and the years go by.
Oh, that's great. And boy, is it ever needed this day and age. You got to have security everywhere.
It's crazy out there. Yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, let's jump to our questions then. Our first question, and Joe, as you've been building your business and running your company, is there a challenge that you're especially proud that you overcame?
Yeah, there is. And there's a lot of wins. There's a lot of trophies, virtual trophies. But I think that the single biggest thing for us is we bootstrapped this business. So, we didn't go get a bunch of VC money or anything like that. So becoming profitable is, and doing it sustainably and the right way. You did it ethically, all of those things. And it's something that we could build on top of in the future. With the market downturn and all the different forces that are in motion and frankly against us, it's a huge achievement. And we've done this with some amazing people that have been committed to the mission. But just getting profitable and knowing that it's sustainable, it's viable, it's legitimate for all the reasons. I'm so thankful to see the market starting to reward profitable companies, not just growing companies. And we're certainly ahead of the pack on that one.
That is awesome. Congratulations, first of all, because that is, well, to say not easy, it is difficult to do, to get to bootstrap it without having to use VC funding or anything else for that matter. That is awesome.
A great team, great partners. It's constant collaboration. It takes a village.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that story. Very inspirational. All right. Question number 2. How can leaders foster creativity within their team or company?
I think the biggest thing that, I do personally, I like to think I'm a good leader, right? I think most do. But one of the things that I do very pointedly and with purpose is I reach out to my lieutenants, right? And I say, I'm thinking this, or I have a dynamic, I have a piece of information, right? I'm processing, I'd like you to process with me. So when a lot of times I'm approaching the leadership team early, and it's because there's a potential shift in a perspective, a new data point, and it allows the whole team to solve with me, sometimes for me. But it allows us to all get in the same boat. At least we all have the same vantage point, same perspective, and it's a gut check on the same goal. It's amazing what comes out of it. It's you get concurrence almost always, but you get creative ideas based on the same data points. And I think that's a big miss is when you have companies with ivory towers and things cascade. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of creativity because I was just given this goal, this mission, and it was almost forced on how I got there. I think in our CyFlare construct, it's more about here's what we got, here's what we know, here's what we want to do. Any ideas on how we get there? And it's amazing to see what the team comes up with.
Oh, I love that. That is great. It's and I love that you touched on the fact that sometimes leaders they get almost too prescriptive in how they want things done, and there's situations where that's necessary. But boy, as often as you can, I love how you approach that. Hey, solve this with me. You kind of, hey, let's get on this little journey together there. I love that. That is awesome. All right. Question number 3, how can leaders, kind of a similar question, but how can leaders help build trust between the team members?
I think the key thing is, and it sounds a little, I guess standard to say, is just get out of the way, right? So how do you get trust? You co-own the idea, right? You co-author, with the leadership team from question number 2, you do that properly. And then when it comes time to execution, you get out of the way, right? And you make sure that the goal and these steps and the tracking, the metrics, whatever, you trust your leadership team to make it an end user sport, right? That individual contributor knows what we're all doing, why we're doing it, what the goal is. And when they all talk about it regular and there's a process around it, it is a team sport. And it really, it gets everyone accountable and communicating like, hey, this is what I need you to do. This is what I need from you. This is what we're expecting. And when you have the iteration in between to see how you're doing against it, and a leadership team that's always listening and prepared to just block, tackle, get out of the way. It starts with me, it starts with my partner, it starts, it goes all the way down. But that mentality cascades, right? So if everyone is accountable, we all know what we're doing, why we're doing it, that teamwork happens pretty naturally because you can't hide, right? You know what you're supposed to do. And when you put the points on the board, you need to reward that. But I think the trust happens just from absolute clarity of intent out of the gate. And, everyone knows if they did it or they didn't. And you always get respect from it because, again, it comes back to that single vantage point, the perspective, and you just get respect. And I think that's more important than trust in some cases. Sometimes there's a bit of leap of faith when you make big shifts in the business or things are unknown. But at least if there's respect, we're going in together. How we come out, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, and I love that you pointed out and brought up the connection between trust and respect, because they are, I think, very complementary. And sometimes they're exclusionary to a certain degree, where you respect a person, but may not always trust them. But they, in my view, they really do go together. And I love that you brought that up. All right. Question number 4. Is there an example of either your personal life or professional life of maybe a perceived failure or a setback of some kind that you turned into a win?
Yeah, I think the one that we guard near and dear is wins and losses with clients, right? So, contracts won, contracts lost, right? I think every company in this space, SOC is a really hard business, dependent on the report you read, maybe 50%, give or take 5-10 points, are actually happy with their outsourced security provider. So it nets out to say that SOC as a service, as a business, it's a relatively high churn thing. For CyFlare, it's not. But I tell you, when we lose a client, it ripples. Everybody in the company knows it, and we take it super serious. So, when I think of this question and the answer, it's a large client loss that we had, and we really reflected on this one. We really did a postmortem to figure out what could we have done, what do we do in the future. And the hard thing about it was that the answer was simple, and it was talk to the client more, right? But talk at different levels, not just one level. It's not about grandstanding and it's just executive to executive. It's not about the front line always talking and doing more. It's about all levels. I mean, zippers don't work without the next rung, right? It takes all sides in order to make that thing really come together in unison. So, for us, we took that loss, and everyone felt it in the company in a lot of ways, but we took that, and now we've got an impressive lineup in terms of sessions where we are interlacing with our strategic accounts at all levels. And we've even begun practicing this already. And it's amazing what we've learned, things that are going well. There's 3 questions in terms of what should we start doing, what should we stop doing, and what should we continue doing. Those 3 questions are going to get us so much in the next year when we ask from different vantage points to different perspectives through the client organization, as well as the partners we work with. So, that was a major loss, but I think a huge win. It's gonna make us a lot more than it cost us in that point in time.
That you hit on something that is so critical, and it sounds so obvious, but we don't I think as professionals, we don't do it very well sometimes, and that's we don't communicate like we should. And I love your zipper analogy, by the way. I love that. I'm just imagining, yeah, you've got these little pieces and they interlock and they get stronger as a result.
Right.
So
Yeah.
great analogy. I love the zipper analogy.
Well, it
All
wasn't
right.
planned. It just came out, Sean. So
Hey, great. A revelatory moment here where we learn something together.
yeah.
You get to keep it then.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Last question, Joe. Tell us a little bit about your first job.
Yeah, I grew up single mom, all that stuff. And first job I had actually walked to a farm. It was about a mile away in a snowstorm in upstate New York. And my stepdad was like, hey, if you want all these nice clothes and all these nice things, like all your friends at school, you're going to go get them. And here's an idea. There's a farm up the road. Go talk to the guy, give him your number, and, and try to get a job there. Cause that's the only thing you can get to without us. And so I did that, walked in the snow, and this farmer just opened the door, looked at this 12-year-old kid. And I think I was wearing shorts. I was trying to be too cool and look classy in a snowstorm, right? And I just stumbled my way through asking for a job. Hey, in the spring, call me if you need anything. I didn't even know what I was asking for. It's just a farm and potential money. And sure enough, the guy called me in the spring. I showed up in shorts and low-cut shoes, and the job was baling hay. And if anybody has done that, I was in the mow. I was tripping through hay bales. My legs were destroyed after day one.
Ouch.
But I stuck with it for 5 years working for area farms. And it was $5 a load, not $5 an hour. It's $5 a load. And these were not elegant, state-of-the-art farms. They were 1950 kicker balers and broken down wagons. And it was brutal work, having to throw hay bales 30 feet in the air. And if it came back down, you're the only one sending it back. So, that was my first job, and it was, it was rewarding because I know what hard work really looks and smells like.
Oh yeah, you sure do.
Yeah.
I quick story here. I got to try to remember how old I was, 14, 15 maybe. I had a friend of mine who had an uncle that had a little farm outside of town there I grew up in Oregon, and I went and helped him for 3 days, and I thought I was going to die. I was like, holy cow, because it's kind of a get it done or you don't go home and eat kind of a thing. It's like, this is it. We got to do it right now. There is no break and pick it up tomorrow. We got to get it done. But yeah. Great story. I love the farm ranch stories that I hear from guests. That was their first job because it's hard work and it really helped shape them.
It helps me, give some advice to young people coming into this where it's like, why do we have to click it 3 times? Why can't it be 2? Right? It's like, well, let me share a story, right?
There you go.
Perspective is everything yet again.
Right. Give them a little perspective. Have them go out and bale hay for a day and see how they like it. So in shorts, nonetheless, to scrape up their legs.
That's right.
Oh, Joe, this has been great. Thank you so much for taking time to be on the podcast today. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed our conversation. How can people find you?
CyFlare.com. Feel free to email me. It's simply Joe, Joe at CyFlare.com. And you can always call in. We're 24/7. So
fantastic.
Call, live chat. We make it easy.
Very good. Love it. This is Sean Richards with the Team Engagement Podcast, where leaders of teams share their insights. For more ideas, go to teamengagementpodcast.com. We also invite you to subscribe or follow the podcast wherever you may be watching or listening to it. And we also remind you, as always, to have humility to learn and then courage to act. Thanks so much for joining us today. Have a great day.